What are the best golf clubs for beginners? That's a very tough question to answer. There are so many brands and so many options within those brands. And of course, you've got new clubs, you've got last year's model where you can save a couple bucks, or you can start where many of us have and try to cobble together a used set of golf clubs. But no matter what you choose, it's very difficult to put 14 clubs together. You've got to get a driver, woods, irons, wedges, a putter. It can become overwhelming. Well, back in 2021, I was wandering around the PGA show and I bumped into a brand that caught my eye. They were making super high quality clubs that I thought were absolutely perfect for beginners. They had style, they had good build quality. It was a full 14-piece set from driver all the way down to putter. They even came with a matching bag, and best of all, they were just so freaking easy to hit. The irons were consistent, they were long, they were forgiving, basically the whole package. Pun intended, non intended, I don't know. Anyway, the brand is Stix. And they've recently rolled out some updates to their line, adding a Perform series, which I was able to get my hands on here for a full review. First off, let's start with what's new with this Perform series. Now, at first glance, I will say these clubs look eerily similar to the clubs I reviewed back in 2023, but there's actually a number of improvements which I think are really welcomed. Let's go over them. So the first thing was Stix made some updates to its driver, and if you saw my initial review of the driver, that was the one club that I struggled with out on course. I thought it lacked just a tad bit of distance, and while the feel and the sound was good, it just wasn't necessarily great. But I can say the new driver in this Perform series is a considerable improvement. To my eyes, it looks bigger, and that's going to give you beginners a lot of confidence. And it definitely has improved feel and sound to it. And the distance, I gotta say, was pretty impressive. I think it's right up there with the big names on the market. Now, in addition to the driver head, they also updated the graphite shafts and the head covers on the woods. And I'll be honest, I'm still not a huge fan of the head covers. I still feel like they're just a little flimsy. I'd like a little bit more padding there, but they do fit a little better over the woods. Now, I did notice, however, the grips were improved and they had a better feel. Definitely a more premium product here with the updates. Stix has improved the durability of its black coating to the clubs. And if you watched my original review of these clubs a couple years ago, or if you watch any of the other YouTube reviews of these clubs, you'll know that black clubs over time show more wear than their chrome counterparts. But I definitely love the look of the black clubs. I think that's what made these Stix stand out to me when I first found them anyways, and I was really happy to see these definitely seem to hold up better to a few bangs around the bag, as well as the shots I took out on course. They just looked better after my round. Now, arguably the biggest update is that Stix has now opted to include the option for steel shafts. Previously, Stix was only offered in graphite, and I think this was a great move because steel is going to offer more consistent ball flight and trajectory, and it's also going to extend the life of these clubs. Since as you progress from a beginner to a more seasoned golfer, I think these clubs have a better chance of growing with you and with your game. So all in all, some fantastic upgrades from Stix here in all the right places. Now in this next section, we're going to talk about the bag setup and makeup of this set of clubs. I think it's really good. But before we do, I want to ask you to please hit the subscribe button. If you enjoy and appreciate independent, unbiased, honest reviews, please consider supporting this show by simply hitting the subscribe button. It helps more than you know. I think this setup is ideal for beginners. So in this Stix Perform set, you're going to have a driver, you're going to have a 3-wood, a 5-wood, 4 hybrid. Then in terms of irons, you're going to have 5 through pitching wedge. You're going to have 3 wedges, a 52, a 56, and a 60, and you're going to have a putter. I think that dropping a 4 iron in place of a 4 hybrid is a really good move here. The 4 iron is going to be the hardest club for any beginner to hit. And the hybrid with its bigger look is going to give you more confidence at address, and it just gets the ball up higher and quicker from the ground, as well as the tougher lies that you're going to face out on the golf course. I like to hit my hybrid from bunkers, from the rough, as well as the fairways and the tee. It's just a great all-around club. So awesome move there. Now, 5-wood is also a great choice for a beginner set because it's a good balance of length, loft, and forgiveness. Now, speaking of lofts, the irons are fairly pressed forward, meaning they're lower lofted, which is going to translate into more distance. Again, exactly what beginners need. With the 7 iron, it sits at 28 degrees, and that's right in line with the modern lofts that most of the big name manufacturers have out there in their beginner or game improvement category. Now, sticks and their irons have really great weight distribution. They move the mass down towards the bottom of the club. That's going to help you get the ball up higher in the air. So trajectory, even though the lofts are pressed forward, does not suffer. They still go nice and high. They still land nice and soft on the green. That's what you want. Sometimes you get these really pressed clubs, and while you can hit them a mile, you just can't stop them, and that's not going to serve you well. Now, there's a bit of offset to these irons, which is great for beginners, but it's also not too aggressive that it looks weird. There's also a thicker top line to these irons, but again, it's not overly thick or shovel-like, as I like to call it. And this is what makes the stick set so great for me, because they manage to balance the game improvement features of their irons perfectly. Again, making these the type of clubs that will serve you well even as you become a better golfer. My only suggestion to the sticks team here is that the lofts of the wedges I would like to see slightly different, since the pitching wedge sits at 45 degrees and the gap wedge has a 52-degree loft. There's just too much gap there. That's 7 degrees of gap. If it was me building a set like this for beginners with a 45-degree pitching wedge, I would like that gap wedge to sit at 50 degrees. Then I'd like to see like a 54-degree sand wedge and a 58-degree lob wedge. I think that would be just a little better setup. Now, the putter is a standout for me in this set. It's not quite a mallet and it's not quite a blade, it's right in between. And like Goldilocks, I think it's just right for beginners. We're gonna talk more about this putter in the next section as well. All right, next let's talk about performance. I took these clubs out on course and I had an absolute blast with them. As I mentioned, the driver is 95 to 98% as good as any driver out there. I was hitting it consistently, long and straight. It's really a pleasure. The rest of the woods, that 3-wood and 5-wood, are really nice too. They feel premium and they have plenty of distance and really nice height to them, especially hitting them off the deck, where that is very difficult for a beginner. The hybrid was super easy to hit and it worked well out of both the rough as well as bunkers. So again, a great all-around choice here, replacing this from the 4-iron. The real star of this set for me though is the irons. Not only do they look good in that sleek, stealthy black, they perform as good or better than any package set that I've tried. That goes for the Callaway Edge set, the Wilson set, or the Cobra sets that I've tried on this channel. These irons are straight, they offer really good forgiveness on off-center strikes, and there's not a huge distance penalty when you don't quite hit it center. That's really, really important as you're beginning golf. Now, as I said before, because the lofts are pressed forward, they're ideal for getting a bit more distance out of each swing. The wedges in this set are just as fantastic. They look great, they have the right amount of bounce, when bounce is gonna help you with those fat shots when you don't make perfect contact. It's gonna help you get through the ground and actually make good contact with the ball. They've got nice spin and performance around the green, and I really do think they're just the best package set wedges that I've tried. The putter, as I said before, really stands out as well in this set for me. Check out the milling on the face. That's as good as any putter you get, even at like the $300 price point. It's got a nice premium feeling, thick grip to it, which is gonna help beginners with their control off the club face. I found it very easy to control my distance with these putters. My lag putts were really nice, and those putts, those short ones that you gotta make from inside 4 or 5 feet, I felt very confident with this putter. I think this is actually a putter that you may never change. This could be your one and done putter. It's that good. All right, let's talk about options here with the stick set. Sticks offers you a lot of options. They're available for both righties and lefties. Yes, lefties, you're finally not left out in the cold like you often are. There are both steel and graphite options, and they offer 3 shaft flexes. They've got stiff flex, which is going to be for your stronger, younger, faster swing speeds. You've got regular, which is going to be best for most people out there. And you've got active, which is going to be if you've got a really slow swing, or maybe you're a senior getting up there in age, that would work best. Now, Sticks gives you the option to add a bag to the set. I believe when I first reviewed them, it just came standard, but now it's actually an upgrade. I think the bag is actually pretty darn good. And for a while last season, for like 3 months, I actually used the Sticks bag because it's nice and lightweight and very durable. Now, it's a $200 upgrade here, which is a pretty average price for comparable bags, so I recommend you add the bag in there too. There's nothing worse than having a nice, beautiful new set of clubs in an old ratty bag, honestly. All right, final thoughts wrapping things up. Are these the best clubs out on the market for beginners? I've got to say, pound for pound, in terms of other package sets that are out there, Unequivocally, yes. This gives you a really good option to get a classy, good-looking set of clubs that's going to perform well, not only as a beginner, but well into your golfing career, because I think these clubs really balance the game improvement features so well. They will work down until you get into your teens in terms of handicap. Just a great set, great offering from Stix. They continue to lead the way in terms of beginner package sets. Kudos to these guys for making improvements in all the right places. There are some links down below if you want to explore these clubs further. When you do that, of course, you do help support me and what I'm doing here on Let's Play Through, and I greatly appreciate it. If you do want to check out my initial review out on course with the Stix set, the old set from a couple years ago, check this one out, and I'll catch you back real soon on another edition of Let's Play Through.